गिरिवरधारी जय गोपी जना वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी यशोदनन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जनं यशोदनन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जनं यशोदानन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जनं यमुनतीरावनचारि जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी. Sing the Mangalacham prayers and then we'll start. There is some reading of the verses. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः. श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं. वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरुन् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितां तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नमां विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन्मिति नामिने. नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्यादेशधारिणे. हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते. तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये. पंचाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा. हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय. ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय. ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय. नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्. नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तम श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी. शृण्वथा कृष्णा पुण्य श्रवण कीर्तन हृदयन्तस्य अभद्राणि विदुनोति सुरसदाम्. भागवत की जय, श्रीपाद की जय. Kalshana verse. Okay. Maybe you can see my screen. Okay. Yeah. Okay. It's seen right? There was a screen right?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. Thank you so much, Hare Krishna. Thanks everyone for joining for the Sunday Srimad Bhagavatam discussion. So we're in the 15th chapter of the first canto and verse number 2. So we will cover verse number 2, 3, and 4. Second and third doesn't have any purport. So we'll go all the way till 4. So I'll read the verse thrice, and if any devotees would like to recite, please feel free to do so. Shokena shushadvadana sarojo hataprabha vibhum tam evanusmaran nashakno pratibhashitum. Shokena shushadvadana sarojo hataprabha vibhum tam evanusmaran nashakno pratibhashitum. शोकेना शुष्यद्वदना तत्सरोजो हतप्रभा विभुं तम् एवानुस्मरन् नाशक्नोत् प्रतिभाषितुम्.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Sukena sushyadvatana vitsaroja hataprabha vibhum tam evanusmaran nashaknot pratibhashitam. Hare Krishna,
Yeah,
Prabhu.
thanks so much, Prabhu. Thanks so much.
Hare Krishna. Shokena shusyad vadana het saroja hata prabha vibhum tam eva nusmaran nashaknot pratibhashitam.
Yeah, thanks so much, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, somehow I am not getting that screen share. It is still rotating. So I'll just listen, Prabhu.
Okay, I can reshare. One second, let me just do 1 second. That helps. Should be Should be visible now. Can you see the screen? Vijay, can you see Vijay?
No, Prabhu, I cannot see,
Okay.
Prabhu. No, maybe it's my internet. It's okay, Prabhu. I'll just listen, Prabhu.
Okay. Okay. So the
We
translation.
can see it on our end. Might be.
Oh, okay. Maybe, yeah. Maybe.
Do you want to, Vijay Madhuri, do you want to drop off Zoom and rejoin Zoom? Maybe that'll help you.
Maybe that'll help. Yes.
I guess in the meanwhile, you can continue. Maybe
Sure.
another
Yeah.
bro.
Synonyms. Shokena, due to bereavement. Shushat Vadana, drying up of the mouth. Krit Sarojaha, lotus-like heart. Hatha, lost. Prabha, bodily luster. Vibhum, the supreme. Tam, unto Lord Krishna. Eva, certainly. Anusmaran, thinking within. Na, could not. Ashaknot, be able. Pratibhashitum, properly saying. Translation prepared by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhakti Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Due to grief, Arjuna's mouth and lotus-like heart had dried up. Therefore, his body lost all luster. Now, remembering the Supreme Lord, he could hardly utter a word in reply. Can read the next two verses as well. Krichena samsthabhya shuchaha panina mrijjanetrayo parokshena smunnadha pranayaut kanthya katara. Synonyms: Krichena, with great difficulty. Samsthabhya, by checking the force. Shuchaha, of bereavement. Panina, with his hands. Amrijja, smearing. Netrayo, the eyes. Parokshena, due to being out of sight. Samunnadha, increasingly. Pranaya, outkanthya, eagerly thinking of the affection. Kataraha, distressed. Translation: with great difficulty, he checked the tears of grief that smeared his eyes. He was very distressed because Lord Krishna was out of his sight, and he increasingly felt affection for him. Sakyam maitrim sauhridam cha sartyadishu samsmaran nripam agrajam ityaha bhashpa gadgataya gira. Sakhyam, well-wishing. Maitrim, benediction. Sauhridam, intimately related. Cha, also. Sarathya adishu, in becoming the chariot driver. Samsmaran, remembering all these. Nripam, unto the king. Agrajam, the eldest brother. Iti, thus. Aha, said. Bhashpa, heavily breathing. Gadgadaya, overwhelmingly. Gira, by speeches. Translation: remembering Lord Krishna and his well-wishes, benefactions, intimate familial relations, and his chariot driving, Arjuna, overwhelmed and breathing very heavily, began to speak. The Supreme Living Being is perfect in all relations with his pure devotee. Shri Arjuna is one of the typical pure devotees of the Lord, reciprocating in the fraternal relationship. And the Lord's dealings with Arjuna are displays of friendship of the highest perfect order. He was not only a well-wisher of Arjuna, but actually a benefactor and read again. He was not only well-wisher of Arjuna, but actually a benefactor. And to make it still more perfect, the Lord tied him into a family relationship by arranging Subhadra's marriage with him. And above all, the Lord agreed to become a chariot driver of Arjuna in order to protect his friend from warfare risks. And the Lord became actually happy when he established the Pandavas to rule over the world. Arjuna remembered all this one after another, and thus he became overwhelmed with such thoughts. Jai. Let me do. Read the verse once again. Shokena shushad vadana yat sarojo hataprabha vibhumtam eva nusmaran ashakno patibhashitum. Yeah. Okay. So, this chapter, as you know, is titled "The Pandavas Retire Timely." Right? You can see here the Pandavas retire timely. So, this chapter, as the title is self-explanatory, the Pandavas retire from the family life, or would say the kingly life, royalty life, towards the north, that as we mentioned later in the chapter. right? So now, in the first we heard Srila Prabhupada's class last week, and our acharyas, Srila Sridhar Swami, Srila Vishwanath Thakur, they give the brief synopsis of the entire chapter in the first verse of every chapter, basically. So the first verse of every chapter, they will write a verse or a prose saying the summary or the essence of the entire chapter. So Sridhar Swami says in the 15th, in the first verse, basically, he says, Kali Pravesham Alaksha Dhuram Nasya Parikshiti Aruroha Dripam Swargam Iti Panchadashe Pravit. He says that Kali Pravesham in the Panchadasha, the 15th chapter, what is going on is Kali Pravesham. The entrance of Kali happens. Why? Because Bhagavan has already left, back to Goloka, right? So he was the only person kind of checking the entrance of Kali. So once it's left, so Kali Pravesham, the Kali will start entering now. Kali Pravesham, Alaksha, disappearing out of sight. Kali will enter now. And Nasya Parikshiti. So they will install Parishit Maharaj as the king, enthrone Parishit Maharaj as the king. And Aruroha Nripa. And the king is Yudhishthira Maharaj, and of course, everyone. Aruroha, they'll start going towards what? Swargam iti. So Sridhar Swami says, Swargam iti. So now, Swargam can mean, we know that the Pandavas are the eternal associates of the Lord. Why would they go to Swarga? Of course, Mahabharata says Swarga, but we can interpret Swarga in different way, like Satram Swargaya Lokaya Sahastram Samasata Swargam Ihi Giyate. It means Swarga Lok or Swarga is basically that planet where the glories of the Lord are continuously sang. Right? In that way, you can Sahastram Samamasata. You can think like that. So Swargam in the sense that Mahabharata says that we went to Swarga and all this stuff, but Bhagavatam being the essence of all the scriptures mentions the actual reality where the Pandavas did not go to heavenly planets, but the spiritual world. Right? So let's go to the verse again. So actually, can you hear me? Okay.
Prabhu, I can hear you.
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes.
Okay, so here the verse says, I'll just so in this chapter especially, there are quite a collection of verses. For example, 1 to 4 is a collection of verse. 5 to 13 is a collection of verse. Basically, the entire thought process flows from 5. So in the commentaries of the Acharyas as well, what they say is when they explain, they'll say, okay, you go to this verse, and from this is the 13th verse, you get some things. The 12th verse, you get some things. It's like a collection of verse. You have to see this in the entirety, basically. So in the first verse, it says, Evam Krishna Sakha Krishna. Krishna Sakha is basically says the friend of Krishna. It's Arjuna, right? So who is that? Krishna. So Krishna also will be Krishna. Krishna basically means here Arjuna, right? Because he had the same varna, same complexion as Shri Krishna, right? The celebrated friend of Shri Krishna is Arjuna, right? Bhartara means the elder brother. Rajya Vikalpita. Vikalpita means our mind has two faculties, functions. Sankalpa and Vikalpa. Vikalpa means choices. These are the choices. Sankalpa means, okay, I'll pick one choice, one option, basically. So, Yudhishthira Maharaj was looking at Arjuna, and he was trying to come up with what is going on. Why is my brother, why is Arjuna in this position, in this way? Is it because of this? So, he's speculating what? Nana Shankaspadam. Shankaspadam basically means he's putting doubts, or he's asking doubts, or he's asking questions based on what he's saying in Arjuna, right? So Nana Shankaspadam Vikalpita. He's doing all these questions, all these doubts based on the bodily feature, bodily constitution, or you could say the way he looks, the face, everything, all external symptoms. He's trying to understand what is going on, what happened to you, right? Rupam, Krishna Vishlesha Karshita. So Karshita, Karshaka, I mean, Krisha basically means, withering. right? Withering. So there's some, there's some, because there's some there will be some diseased for a person, and there will be no fat in the body. You can see skeleton, right? You can see the bones, or when they're old, you can see veins also bulging out. So the body is withered, right? Krishita, right? Krishakaya. Kaya means the body. So he's saying Krishna Vishlesha. Vishlesha, the opposite of Vishlesha is Ashlishya. The Ashlisha Vapadaratam Pinasumam. Ashlisha means alingan, embracing. So Krishna Vishlesha Krishita, body is withered to Vishlesha, separation from whom? Krishna. Right? So, so the Sutta Goswami is saying that Arjuna is a little bit different of Shri Krishna, right? And being asked, is being asked by his elder brother Bhatra all these different questions, right? Looking at Arjuna, right? Because of his way he looks, right? And what is the reason? The way he's looking, what is the reason? Hetu, because Krishna Vishlesha Krishita, right? It's withered, dried up, could say, body because of feeling of separation from Sri Krishna. That's the big overview of what is given. Okay. So now let's go to next. Our verse for today. Shokena Shushya. Shokena basically means by shoka, with shoka. Because of instrumental case, because of lamentation. Shushat Badana. Badana means the mouth, I think Shusha. It's dried up. Because of grief, because of lamentation, his mouth dried up. Just like we in Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna looking at Pratham Sthape Machyuta, oh Achyuta, please take me to the middle of the battlefield. I want to see who has come to engage in great trial of arms, right? And looking at all this, is overcome with grief, lamentation. And the verse's second part of this first chapter talks about all the different symptoms Arjuna is experiencing. Hair standing on end, right? Quivering, Roma Harshana, quivering, Gandiya falling down, skin is burning. And what is the other one? Mouth drying up. We feel that too, right? When we're in a situation, very, very, very precarious situation, our mouth is drying up upon water, right? So because of grief, extreme amount of grief, shoka, lamentation, Shushat Vadana, his mouth became fully dried up, right? And what else? Hrit Sarojo, beautiful analogy. The heart of Arjuna is compared to a lotus, right? So lotus, when the sun, the sun comes up, the lotus blooms, right? It's called the friend of the sun. The lotus is called the friend of the sun. The night lily is called the friend of the moon, right? Because when moon comes out, hey, they become very happy and blooms. So the sun is called the friend of this. The lotus is called the friend of the sun. So Hrit Saroja, right? Hatha Prabha. So these are the symptoms given of Shri Arjun in his bodily symptoms because of grief. Hetu, the cause is Hetu, is what? Shushyat Vadana. The mouth become dried up. The lotus of his heart, lotus-like heart, has become shriveled, dried up, because sun like Sri Krishna has set this world. Come back, right? The lotus has not just closed, it's shriveled up, right? So when the sun goes, we feel a bit cold when sun sets, but when Sri Krishna left back to spiritual world, the entire world became like ice cold for Sri Arjuna, right? And in that ice cold, all being crumpled up, right? Lotus all withered, right? So the heart, like the devotee's heart are like, especially the pure devotee's heart are like lotus, very soft. If you see Sri Krishna, this very always compared to lotus, like Namah Pankaja Nabhaya, Namah Pankaja Maline, Namah Pankaja Netraya, Namaste Pankajangre, Pankaja, right? Namah Pankaja Nabhaya, lotus like navel, right? So lotus is one of the flowers which are compared to Sri Krishna. And one of the reason is that the lotus is not, devotees say, the lotus is not the flower created by Sri Brahma, because Brahma was born on lotus. So this is exclusive, you could say, creation of Sri Krishna. So that is the flower which can be compared to Sri Krishna. Right? So the heart of the devotees are soft, like Shri Bhagavan himself, who is Karunamai, right? So that lotus-like heart of Arjuna is what? Shriveled up. That's Sarojam. What else? Hata Prabha. Prabha means Prabhava, the body luster, right? The body luster is Hata, cut, dull, right? There's no body luster. Arjuna is like beautiful, radiant, right? Very, very energetic, right? Can you imagine? This is the same person. We went to the heavenly planets, Swarga, right? Urvashi, the pinnacle, you could say, of the Apsaras. And she's not any ordinary Apsara. She was created from the divine body of Narayana Rishi. That Urvashi got attracted to Arjuna. That means Arjuna look, I mean, they have very high taste, you could say, in one way. They don't get attracted to mere mortals. Arjuna was that lustrous, beautiful, right? Effulgent. And that Arjuna now, Hata Prabha, is fully black, lost all bodily luster, right? Vibhum. Now, why is it happening? Grief. Okay. Grief about whom? Vibhum. So we are Anu, and Bhagavan is Vibhu. Vibhum. Uttam. That Vibhum, that Lord, Eva Anusmaran, continuously remembering that Vibhum, right? About continuously remembering the Lord, Sri Krishna, his dear friend. Eva Anusmaran, continuous remembrance of the Lord, right? Na Shaknot, he was not able to. Shaknot means able to. Na Shaknot means not able to. Pratibhashitum, could not even speak. Right? So, Shri Arjuna, because of so much lamentation, so much grief, being in remembrance, due to remembering Shri Krishna, his dear friend, right? And because of that, what happened? His mouth dried up, his heart, his lotus-like heart, shriveled up, the luster, body luster, all faded away, and he could not speak even a single word. And that is the essence of describing the situation of Arjuna. He could hardly utter a word. So if you see, as trying to think a similar situation, where we see this. So here in Srimad Bhagavatam, third canto, here, second chapter, basically. So his third canto starts with, in the first chapter, basically, Vidura asked questions to Uddhava, right? He asked questions to Uddhava. And now the first verse, Shishuka Uvacha, Iti Bhagavata Prashta, Kshatravartam Priyashrayam, Pratibhaktum na chotseha outkanthas smarteshwara. Now we'll see the word outkantha very soon. Smarteshwara is remembering. What is Uddhava going through? When asked questions by Vidura, which gives Uddipan, which gives a stimulant, remember, they make Uddhava remember Krishna. What happened? Iti Bhagavata Prashta. The Bhagavatam, oh great devotee, Prashta asked question. Bahu Shatra. Shatra is basically Vidura. Vartam Priyashrayam, regarding something very dear to him. Uddhava, Priyashrayam. Right? Pratibhaktum na chotseha, he could not speak. Become very eager, he could not speak. So this is translated by Prabhupada. The great devotee Uddhava was asked by Vidura to speak on the message of the dearest, Priyashrayam. Uddhava was unable to answer. Right? Pratibhaktum na cha utseha. He could not even answer immediately due to excessive anxiety at remembrance of the Lord, lamentation, grief, because by this time Krishna has left to Goloka Vrindavan. Right? So the same, you could say Arjuna is going to the same sort of emotions which Uddhava went through, going through, right? In remembering, Smarita, remembrance, Anusmaran, remembrance. The same emotion is being, we're seeing in both these great exalted Nitya Parshas of Bhagavan, right? So they're going to same emotions and not able to choking when remembering Shri Krishna, especially feeling the separation from Bhagavan, right? So going to next verse, it continues, right? Krichena. Krichena means beautiful. These words. Aruya Krichena param padam pad. So, I think it's from the 10th canto, where, so the Krichena means with great difficulty. Samstabhya, by checking the force of it, Shuchaha. So, Shucha basically means bereavement. So, with great difficulty, Arjuna, what is he doing? Samstabhya is checking the force of what? Pani Amrija Netrayo. Netrayo means two. Netrayo, dual case, right? Panina means hand. So when Krishna, in the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, when Krishna walks on the land of Brajamandal, right? So Shukadeva Goswami says, Janubhyam Saha Panibhyam. This verse comes in the context when Krishna first starts crawling. So how does the baby crawl? On his knees, on the hand. Janubhyam means knees. Saha Panibhyam. Panibhyam, two hands. He's crawling. So Panina. Panina means using the hand. Titiya, third. So with Panina, Amrijya. Mrijya means, we rub or smear basically, right? So Mrijya. Right? So what is Arjuna doing? Is trying to check that lamb. Now the internal grief. All remember, he kept asking this question, what happened to you? Because this, so many things. And the last verse of the previous chapter, I'll quickly go to that. Last verse of the previous chapter, he kind of hits the nail on the head. Finally, Yudhishthira Maharaj kind of hits the nail on the head. I can't think of anything except what is happening to you, except one thing, right? And this is a verse. It says, right? Shunyosmi rahito nityam manyase te anyatha naruk bandhuna. Atma bandhuna. Hidaya atma bandhuna. So, right? Arjuna, I can think of no other reason for you becoming so dejected except what? You might have lost your intimate friend, Shri Krishna. That was like, oh, that just exploded his inner emotions, right? And this verse, the first, second verse, he's now not able to contain that. The intensity of his remembrance of Shri Krishna is so much, right? Now he's trying to control, right? Control the emotion which is bubbling inside. It starts coming out now. Starts coming out. But how? Krichena samstabhya shuchaha. The bereavement is trying to control with great difficulty. What? Panina amrija netrayo. What comes to netra? The tears. He's rubbing. It's rubbing like this. When we cry, now okay, cry, tear comes, we rub and gone. There's no more tears. But the tears are flowing like Ganga, like streams of water are flowing to the eyes of Arjun. Right? He's trying to control his rubbing. More the tears are coming, just keep on going. He's rubbing his eyes, right? He's rubbing his eyes, trying to get off the tears, water on the cheeks, but it's not. He's trying his best, but it's happening out of his will, right? Why? Parokshena. So there is paroksha and there is pratyaksha. Pratyaksha means visible, right? And paroksha basically means it's not visible. So parokshena samunnadha, right? Because of not increasingly outkantya katara, outkantya, he becoming distressed. So he becoming distressed. Why? Due to extreme outkantya. Outkantya means utkantha, eagerness, right? Eager thinking of affection, eager thinking of his friend. In what? In the mood of pranaya, affection. Okay? The pranaya outkantya, increasingly thinking of, because he's so attached to Shri Krishna, And now he's not able to see. Just imagine. So Arjuna is not just feeling, we see Arjuna is feeling emotion, extreme distress on seeing Sri Krishna not being present in the world. But it's not just that, this other aspect of this as well. That Arjuna was close to Sri Krishna and also the family of Sri Krishna and the Yadus. Can you imagine? You know a person, you know a family, very well, so close. You go to their house, so often, you know them very, very closely. And just one day, the entire family is gone. The entire, not just one person of the family, the entire family, the big, huge family, gone. So that is what Arjuna's feeling is. Not, of course, Sri Krishna is primary, but apart from that, Samba, all the other, all the other, relatives of Sri Krishna, everyone's gone. And it's just adding on top of it. Right? And so it's just building up everything, the entire family, Sri Krishna, my pranayam, my dear friend has left. I can't see him anymore. I can't see Samba, I can't see Pradyumna, I can't see anyone now. Right? In Dwarka. Gone. Parokshena sambandhanta, pranaya outkantha, there is so much greed, with affection. When can I see Krishna? When will I see? I'm gone. He's gone. He's left. Right? He's distressed because of that. Right? Arjun. So I can't even try to imagine myself putting this, that what he must be going through. Right? Sri Krishna, who we want to see, was with him. Right? So the next verse is that Sakhyam, Maitrim, Sahurdam Cha. Now he's thinking of the different ways. Right? Remember, Eva Anusmaran, thinking about Krishna. What is thinking about Krishna? One Sakhyam, Maitrim, Sahurdam Cha. Sarathadishu Samsmaran. Nipam Agrajam Ityaha Bhashpa Gadgadeyagra. Finally, he could not. He was thinking about Sakhyam, his friendship. Right? So, Srila Vishwanath Thakur gives beautiful description. At this, we would feel that Sakhyam, Maitrim, Sahurdam, yeah, they're all same thing, right? Different words for same meaning. Now he says Sakhyam means Hiteshitam. Checker says Premna Paraspara Pranatvam. Paraspara Hiteshitvam Sakhyam. Sakhyam means that relation which is mutual affection on equals. That's Sakhyam. Sakhya. Sakhya basically means what is Sakha? Basically mean Sakhadati, Sakhelati. That person whom you play with, Sakhelati. After Khelati, Sakhadiyati, eat with. That is Sakha. Right? So in Bhagavad Gita, beautiful verse, right? Where Arjuna kind of, after seeing the universal form, kind of in a different mood. Right? Big. Okay. The verse also the verse forgot. Okay. So the verse says, right? Oh Krishna, I have eaten with you, slept with you. I just going to get the verse 1 second. Just it's a very beautiful verse. I think I'm missing anyway. So so he says that, oh Krishna, please forgive me. I've eaten with you. I've been in the same seat with you. Right? I cut jokes with you. I cut jokes on you. I cut jokes using you. Right? I mean, so many things. Please forgive those offenses. Please. Right? So on one hand, I can forgiveness, but other side is he's actually done. He's actually been in the same seat, slept on the same bed as the Lord. So much friendship. Right? Krishna and Arjuna would go on walks together. That's how one of the queens with Krishna married was Kalindi, right? In Mahabharata mentioned Kalindi, right? I think someone please should share.
41, 42, Prabhu. Yeah, 11.
Yes, 14:1. Thank you for 41. Think of the Lord. Hey Krishna, hey Yadav, hey Saketi. Right? Thank you. So, Saketi matva prasabham yuktam, hey Krishna, hey Yadav, hey Saketi, janata mahimanta vedam, maya pramadena pradena vapi. Beautiful verse, right? So, Saketi matva, thinking of Sakha, prasabham yuktam. I call you, hey Krishna, hey Yadav, hey Sakhe. I called you all like, all this, ajanata mahimanam, I not understanding your mahima, Tevedam, maya pramadat pranayana vapi. I did so many this illusion, this, all this nonsense kind of things. He's saying. Thanks so much, Vedama Prabhu. So here saying, Sakyam. Sakyam means what? On equals, sharing mutual affection. That is Sakya. Okay? Then he says, Maitrim is what? Dasya Mishram Sakyam. Maitrim is that Sakyam where a little bit Das is mixed. So Shri Rupa Goswami calls this kind of mixed Sthai Bhav. It's called Sankularati. Mix of both. Uddhava is one of the example where the is of it was not pure Sakhya, not pure Dasya, a mix of both. So he says that he's remembering those instances where there's mutual affection, like equals. He's remembering those instances where Krishna, where Arjuna was in the mode of a servant, Krishna master. In that friendship, but with a little mix of Dasya involved. Okay. And then other is Sauhridam, where other way, where Arjuna was in the mode of Vatsalya. So we could say Krishna was in the mode of Dasya, Arjuna, and Sauhridam means Krishna was in the mode of a parent, Vatsalya Bhav. So Sauhridam is what? Vatsalyam Mishram Sakhyam. Maitri means Dasya Mishram Sakhyam. And Sakhyam or Sakhya is what? Paraspara Pranatvam, Parasat Prana, they are the life of each other. Paraspara Hiteshitvam, the benefactor of each other. Mutual affection. That is Sakhyam. So these are the difference or demarcations, so I would say, categories very clearly mentioned by Shri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur in his commentary. Now he's remembering specific instance. Sarathadishu samsmaran. He's remembering what? Sarathi being, Krishna being the Sarathi, where Krishna was in the Das position, right? So we know that. So the way Arjuna had to tell Krishna to go right or left is he put leg on the near the shoulder, and his thumb will say left, right, right or left, right? Move. So in that mood, right? And we see that this is such a beautiful remembrance of him, because that is the most prominent for him. That most important time of his life, fighting his battle against his family, for Arjuna, right? And Sarathi Adishu, Sarathi. Now, if you remember Chaitanya Charitamrita, the South Indian Brahmana was reading Bhagavad Gita. Mahaprabhu asked, "What? Why are you crying for? Why are you crying?" He says, "Just remembering that Supreme Lord Vibhu becoming a servant, a chariot driver, first year devotee Arjuna. Just remembering that, I can't stop my tears falling." Right? So in that, in the first chapter, this is called the Vatsalya, or the Krishna affection for his devotees is exhibited by this particular role he took up as a chariot driver, right, for Arjuna, for his dear devotee. This is not a great position, but right, as a chariot driver. So he is thinking that Sarathi. Now Adishu means what? Etc. Now etc. has so many things, right? So I was just thinking all the examples. One example which comes to mind is from Padyavali, right? Which I think Shri Pashu was also quoted, where Durvasa Muni, his disciples came in, and she was saying, what do I give them? Akshapad, it's noon, it's finished, there's nothing left. And Durvasa Muni becomes angry, gone, things finished, right? As she's thinking, what do I do? And then comes from the pathway, of Dwarka, dust rising, full dust rising, and then comes slowly from the horizon, comes the top of the first Garuda Dhwaja, right? The Garuda Dhwaja is first coming up, and slowly the rest of the chariot comes up from the horizon, and Sri Krishna starts coming to rescue the Pandavas. Right? That's one of the example which is thinking of so many pastimes with Arjuna, Khandava plus Khandava, the forest, right? Well, Agnidev had stomach issues. He wanted to eat up the entire forest, but Indra would not let, because his friend Maya was, I think, Takshak, I think so, was there in the forest. So whenever Agni had to eat, Indra would show rain. Water and fire doesn't go together, right? So Agni requested help, which is Arjuna said, okay, we'll help. And Arjuna did that with Shri Krishna. Right? So many such wonderful pastimes of wonderful memories Arjuna has with Shri Krishna. Right? And he's like churning on or remembering all those pastimes, and each pastime, each memory which he's thinking about is increasing the intensity. Right? And what happened? Nripam, Aja, and the Agrajam, the elder brother, right? So Nripam, Agrajam Ityaha, the Arjuna is going to say now, Bhashpa basically means, that if we can put a little bit, if we can try to be in that particular shoe for a little moment, or relate to what we have gone through, a little bit. It's a fraction of, we can feel a fraction of what Arjuna is feeling, right? Bhashpa Gadgadaya, we seen Shishashrakam, Udaya Gadgadaya Gira, right? He's crying. Gadgadaya means, overwhelming, very emotional, very overwhelming. Gira means tongue, right? Speech. So it starts with, he's going to start speaking now. All this entire last chapter, Arjuna did not speak a single word. Just hearing, and he's looking at Vishnu Maharaj, but what he's doing? Anusmaran of Shri Krishna. Continuous Anusmaran of Shri Krishna. And so much so, Krishna loves us so much, as Shri Prabhupada says, that not a benefactor, but he made him his family. I remember by how? By marrying Subhadra Maharani to Arjuna, his sister. Now that's big. And who orchestrated the plan? Krishna himself, against the wishes of Daud. Right? He orchestrated the plan. He made Arjuna into sannyasi, and come to the assembly, right? And did everything, all set up, all the background work, everything he did. Why? That's how much Shri Krishna loved Arjuna. I want to make him a family member. Not just benefactor, sakha, friend, okay, but family. Right? So Shri Prabhupada says here, and to make it more perfect, the Lord tied him to a family relationship by arranging Subhadra's marriage with him. Right? So Prabhupada actually gives a gradation, you could see. See, first one is that Shri Arjuna was the typical pure devotees of the Lord, reciprocating with fraternal relationship. Okay? Right? And the dealing with friendship with the highest perfect order. Okay? Now, it's not a valuation of Arjuna, but actual benefactor. Okay? About that, to make it more perfect, family relationship. Okay, about that, above all, Shri Krishna agreed to become chariot driver. So just like gradation Prabhupada has given. Better than this, but above this, but above that too. Right? So Shri Krishna, that is why it is Sarathi Adishu. He did not say any of the pastime in Adishu, etc. Sarathi Adishu, showing the epitome, the pinnacle of that relationship with Sri Krishna and Arjuna. That word Sarathi is being mentioned here. And Prabhupada aptly conveys what Sri Bhagavatam is saying, that above all, the Lord agreed to become the chariot driver, Arjuna, protect his friend from all warfare risk. When Karna shot the Nagastra, what did Krishna do? Right, aiming for the head, or head and neck and head for Arjuna. What did Krishna do? Stamped his foot on the chariot. The chariot bent down, and instead of the arrow hitting the neck and head, it hit the helmet, right? Protecting Arjuna, right? So much so at the end of the war. So at the end of every day, what happened? Shri Krishna would come first, and Arjuna Shri Krishna would help Arjuna to come out down chariot. Last day of the war was over. He said, Arjuna, you first get out first. No, you please. No, you first get out first. And then Krishna stepped out after that. After Arjuna, the entire chariot was blown to pieces. Krishna was protecting Arjuna of from all different sides, right? We know the pastime of Krishna, Rathanga Pani. Bhagavatam says Rathanga Pani, Ratha Anga Pani, holding the Anga of Ratha, the chariot, the wheel of Ratha, attacking, going to attack Bhishma. And Arjuna is holding the leg. No, please don't that. Don't break a promise for me. Please don't do that. Because I will break my promise to save you. That is the relationship which Arjuna and Sri Krishna has. Such deep, right? So the Lord becomes actually happy, and Lord became actually happy when he established the Pandavas. The entire Mahabharata was to establish the Pandavas as a king, right? And he wanted to do that. It's one of the reasons, right? So Arjuna was remembering all these pastimes, all these stories, one after another, and thus became overwhelmed with a thought, just like Uddhava, right? And Uddhava, just like, in the third canto, second chapter, mentions that from age of 5 years, he was absorbed in service of Sri Krishna, all throughout life. And then in Dwarka, he got to serve Krishna, and then he left, right? That intensity is also observed by Arjuna, because he also got a chance. First time he saw was Draupadi Swayamvar, when Sri Krishna saw Arjuna, Draupadi Swayamvar, and he immediately knew Arjuna is here, right? And from that point onwards, the relationship just went on increasing, right? These two personalities. So I was hearing a class, and I was thinking how to read Srimad, how to understand Srimad Bhagavatam, right? So this was Amrita Prabhu's class, and he gave an acronym for respect. I just share that. So first, read regularly. R for read regularly. Use examples. When for example, he gave example of curse. Who are the different curses in Srimad Bhagavatam, right? Talking about the examples, storyline, and drawing parallels. So in aligning with that particular acronym, I was thinking which other devotee, which other personality went to the same emotions as Arjuna, of when remembering Sri Krishna getting overwhelmed. And I could think of Uddhava, the third canto, where Vidura asked a question, and so that is how it came up. Vidura asking, or Uddhava and Vidura's conversation. And the E is extract important verses, or making your own favorite list of verses. C is studying the commentary, the acharyas, and T is take home message. So what in this fourth section, in this section of Srimad Bhagavatam what we're reading right now, Arjuna's intensity of Sri Krishna is put a notch higher by remembering Sri Krishna, right? So what we can do as well is, when we read Srimad Bhagavatam, we have to develop a connection with Srimad Bhagavatam, develop a connection with Sri Krishna, and remember those throughout the day. Because as Krishna mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita, the condition for at the end of death to go to the spiritual world is smaran, right? So antakale cha mameva smaran mukta kaleva, remembrance. The remembrance will cultivate, and the remembrance increasing to shape Prabhupada in Nectar instruction also, increasing intensity. Of course, Arjuna got the highest fortune of being with Krishna personally in Dwapara Yuga. We don't have that. So, but what we can do, we have Srimad Bhagavatam, who is Krishna Tulya Bhagavata Vibhu Sarvashraya. Chaitanya says, Krishna Tulya Bhagavat. Bhagavat is as Tulya as Shri Krishna. Tamalavarnam Suhitavataram Apara Samsara Samudra Setum. Right? So this Bhagavatam is like the bridge. Tamalavarnam Suhitavataram Apasamsara Sambuddha Setum Bhajamahe Bhagavata Swarupam. So this Bhagavatam is the Swarupam of Shri Krishna. And we have developed that kind of relationship with Srimad Bhagavatam, right? And each and every verse, as I mentioned, I'm hearing Sudama pastime here, and each and every verse of the pastime is so amazing. Now that looking at from an angle or from the vision of a devotee who actually relationship with Bhagavatam. So Bhakti Sam Sindhu says, Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavata Rasikai Saha. We have to learn Bhagavatam or study Bhagavatam along with those who actually relish Bhagavatam. It's not just Bhagavatam part or something. Bhagavata Rasikai Saha, along with Rasikas who relish Srimad Bhagavatam. So we should try to seek out those devotees who actually relish Srimad Bhagavatam and understand. Right? Bhagavatam cannot be just studied by just opening the book. I think Swaram Damodar Goswami in the Antrila, I think we're reading right now. It says, जाओ भागवत पढ़ो वैष्णव चरणे एकांत आश्रयो चैतन्य चरणे. Understand Srimad Bhagavatam or try to learn Srimad Bhagavatam under the guidance of that devotee who has taken exclusive shelter of Sri Chaitanya. Right? So and Sri Prabhupada is that Acharya who has taken full, complete. He is a Gaura Priyajana, extremely dear to Gaura, very, very dear to Gaura, Gauranga Mahaprabhu. He has given this wonderful literature of Bhagavatam, and this is not just saying preaching, but it's for me. I'm saying for me as well. I have to develop a relationship with Srimad Bhagavatam and read Srimad Bhagavatam, read it regularly, I mean attentively. And that's how we can correct connection. Bhagavatam is a living book. The more we open, the more we try to develop connection, Bhagavatam will open. Along with so Bhagavatam has so many things, but the comment of the Acharya is like the key. The Bhagavatam is a treasure, no doubt. The commentary of the Acharyas are the treasure box, the key to the treasure box, opening the treasure inside Srimad Bhagavatam. So many things I mentioned Bhagavatam, right? So I'd like to conclude with today, saying that what we read till now, Arjuna is overwhelmed with grief, right? His mouth is dried up, right? His lotus-like heart shriveled up because the sun like Sri Krishna has departed from this world, putting the entire world into cold, ice-cold darkness, right? For him, at least from his point of view, right? And Hat Saroja and Hata Prabha, all his body luster has faded away. Because of what? His Priya, his Vibhum, Tam Eva Anusparan, thinking about his loved one. And that has caused him to see these changes in physical appearance, right? And he's overwhelmed thinking about all different pastimes, and with choking voice, he's about to speak in the next verse, which we'll hear from Vijagdamana Prabhu next week. Yeah, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Kindly forgive me for all the mistakes of what I made. Your Saragrahi Vaishnavas, taking essence, you can share your feedback, can share your correct my mistakes. So thank you so much. All goes to Shri Prabhupada, all goes to our Guru Vargas, all goes to them. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Narottama Vilasa Prabhu,
Thank
for
you.
taking time out of your busy schedule in Seattle to speak Bhagavatam. You did a very nice overview and delved into each verse in detail in a very short time. That was very good and impressive. And to align us with the mood of separation that Shri Arjuna is experiencing. Thank you. I really like how in Srila Prabhupada's purport, the tendency is to read the verse and experience Arjuna's feelings, his ras, obviously, and the mixing of the rasas. But I really like how Srila Prabhupada actually explains Lord Krishna's feelings about Arjuna as well. Like you said, it's all about bhakti, is all about relationship. I was reading something on Patanjali Yoga Sutras, and Patanjali Yoga Sutras states that a yogi is one who has two things. Number one, they understand that everything in this material world is suffering. And number two, they understand that there's no material solution they can come up for that suffering. But this Srila Prabhupada disciple wrote the book. He said that the important thing is in Bhakti Yoga, amongst all the yogas, that's the only yoga where it takes two. It takes Jiva and Ishvara to help come out of that distress. So it's all about relationships, between devotees and devotees and devotees and demons and the Bhagwan and devotees. So it's just like one big huge family having their rasic interaction. So I really like that how Srila Prabhupada emphasized Lord Krishna's feelings as well and his bhav for Arjun. Thank you for sharing so thoroughly. And before let's have other devotees if they have questions or comments. It's 9 o'clock, I think, Portland time.
I just wanted to say one thing, Prabhu. Sorry, Anita, I spoke over you. It's like as Prabhu said, like the way that you explained the purport and went through the class, right, Prabhu? The feeling of separation by Arjuna was completely there. Just like I was able to feel the bhavas, like from the purport. You explained it so nicely. Thank you so much, Prabhu.
I can feel too. You felt it nice. Hopefully, I can feel too one someday. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, Prabhu. What a beautiful class, Prabhu. Amazing. Just wanted to say how you broke down each and every word from the shloka itself and how you drew parallels with Uddhava and so many different things in the Dakshapatra episode. And, we were riding along with you, Prabhu, in the journey, and we didn't want it to end, basically. So very, very nice, Prabhu. Thank you so much. Yeah. I can imagine, how much Arjuna and his, which he said, what he has been through, and especially when you said when Krishna was his chariot driver, and the way the Kshatriyas order the chariot drivers to move left and right, they put their leg on the shoulder of the chariot driver. So that was how Bhagwan was as close to Arjuna, and he wanted to, he became his servant, kind of, right? So it's just amazing. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Thank you very much for an enlightening lecture on not one verse, 3 verses. And as Prabhu and Mataji said, and this verse talks about a lot of emotions from Arjuna. And you covered like all the emotions with various Shastric references. Thank you very much. I was thinking like how like I believe and among many pure devotees, right? Like Arjuna is the one like who has multiple emotions covered in the relationship with Krishna, right? Thank you very much for covering. And the last, the acronym respect, what you heard from Amrendra Prabhu. Thanks for sharing that.
I'm just remembering one verse from Sudha pastime. I just finished 10.4. It's 10.8.2. This shloka, the verse number. Shukadeva Goswami says the qualification to develop taste in hearing and understanding Bhagavatam. One of them is it's called Vishanna Kama Margani. This is related to what Jatachan Prabhu mentioned about from Yoga Sutra that we cannot have material solutions. Something similar to that. He says that one was disgusted with sense gratification. That's one of the qualifications needed to get taste in hearing of Srimad Bhagavatam. Yeah, I just had to share that 10.8.2. Okay. Thank you so much, Hare Krishna. So we'll stop here. I will see you next week with Vidagdama to continuing the Srimad Bhagavatam discussion. Okay.
Thank you, Narottama Prabhu, and all the other devotees. I hope you have a very wonderful, ecstatic visit with Amarendra Prabhuji. Please convey our respects to him and fond remembrance of him and Mataji. I hope pray he's happy and well in Krishna consciousness as usual. And Atlanta awaits you as we depart. You come for something very nice as well. So see you all next week. Stay safe and happy in Krishna consciousness. Vanchakalpatarvyacha, Vibhosandhavyacha, Patitanam Pavanebhyo.